Most Americans believe that what happens in Middle East stay in the Middle East, but history shows the opposite. One assassination, one military strike, one sudden shift in power, and suddenly everything changes. Gas prices rise, stock markets panic, and retirement portfolios can lose value overnight. Now imagine this. A man who ruled one of the most powerful countries in the Middle East for 36 years is suddenly gone. Not through retirement, not through elections, but through violence. The death of Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, could trigger a chain reaction far beyond the region. A reaction that could affect oil prices, global markets, military tensions, and ultimately your money. But here's what makes this situation especially dangerous. When powerful leaders disappear suddenly, the world doesn't just change politically, it changes economically. Markets begin reacting almost immediately. Investors move billions of dollars within hours. Governments began preparing for scenarios that could reshape the balance of power, because Iran is not just another country in the Middle East. It sits at the center of one of the most powerful forces in the global economy, energy. And when energy markets become unstable, everything becomes more expensive. But to understand why this moment matters so much, we need to understand the man who controlled Iran for more than 3 decades. To understand the financial implications of this moment, we need to understand who Ali Khamenei really was. Most Americans have heard his name, but very few understand how much power he actually held. Khamenei became Iran's supreme leader in 1989, and unlike presidents or prime ministers, the supreme leader rules for life. In Iran's political system, the positions control the military, the intelligence agencies, the judiciary, and overall strategic direction of the country. Even Iran's president ultimately answers the supreme leader. That means for more than 3 decades, Khamenei shaped Iran's relationship with the rest of the world, especially with 2 countries, the United States and Israel. During his leadership, Iran expanded its regional influence across the Middle East. The country invested heavily in military capabilities and supported allied groups throughout the region. At the same time, tensions between Iran and Western nations intensified. Economic sanctions were imposed, diplomatic conflicts escalated, and geopolitical tensions became a constant feature of global politics. But beyond politics, there was another reason Iran mattered so much to the global economy. Oil. Iran sits on one of the largest oil reserves on the planet, and oil still powers much of the modern world. Which means stability in Iran can quickly ripple across the global economy and eventually reach American households. Energy drives the modern world. Every truck delivering food, every airplane crossing oceans, every cargo ship transporting goods between continents. They all depend on fuel. And much of that fuel originates from the Middle East. Iran is one of the largest energy producers in the region, but even more important is the geographic position, because nearby lies one of the most critical ship roads on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow waterway. If conflict ever disrupts that road, oil prices can surge almost instantly. And when oil prices rise, the consequences spread everywhere. gasoline becomes more expensive, airline tickets increase, shipping costs rise, food price climb, inflation accelerate. Even people thousands of miles away from Iran begin to feel the effects. In the United States, rising energy costs often trigger broader economic pressure. Central banks respond, interest rates change, stock markets become volatile, investors move money into safer assets, all because of instability in one region of the world, which is exactly why the death of Iran's most powerful leader has captured the attention of financial markets worldwide. When a powerful leader dies suddenly, the biggest problem is just the loss itself, is the uncertainty that follows. After the death of Ali Khamenei, Iranian authorities announced a temporary leadership structure. A transitional council now includes President Masoud Pezeshkian, Gholam Hossein Mohseni Ejei, and senior cleric Elizera Aref. But this council is only temporary. Iran's political system requires the assembly of experts to choose the next supreme leader, and that process could take time. During that period, uncertainty dominates the political landscape. Investors began asking difficult questions. Who will take the power next? Will the next leader be more aggressive or more diplomatic? Will Iran escalate tensions with the United States or Israel? Or will the country move towards stability? Markets react quickly to these questions. When geopolitical risk rises, investors often move toward safety assets like gold and US government bonds. Meanwhile, energy markets began pricing in possible disruptions. Because the biggest fear is not simply leadership change, it is conflict. For most Americans, global politics feel distant. But events like this eventually reach everyday life. Because global markets are deeply interconnected. If tensions escalate in the Middle East, energy prices could rise. Higher energy costs increase transportation expenses. Companies pay more to move goods. Consumers pay more for products. Inflation rises. Central banks respond. Interest rates change. Mortgage payments increase. Stock markets fluctuate. And suddenly, a geopolitical event thousands of miles away begins affecting household finances in the United States. Investors understand this connection. That is why financial institutions, governments, and analysts around the world are watching Iran very closely right now. Because the death of a leader who ruled for more than 3 decades could mark the beginning of a new chapter in the global politics. A chapter that might reshape alliances, shift power across the Middle East, and influence markets worldwide. What happened next remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. In today's interconnected world, the biggest financial stories often begin far away from Wall Street. And understanding them may be the difference between reaction to the future or being prepared for it. If you want to understand how global events impact your money and the future of the economy, subscribe to Fortune Files and stay informed.